Nestled deep in the remote mountains of Montana, there's a quiet farmland in Ironwood Valley, the kind of place you'd think nothing ever happens. But today, that peace is about to be shattered. A ruthless Mexican cartel, known for its violence and power, has set its sights on this unassuming plot of land. They think they're just dealing with a simple farmer, Wade Thorne. But little do they know, they've just walked straight into the heart of a deadly trap. What they don't realize is that Wade Thorne isn't just any rancher. For 30 years, he was one of the deadliest soldiers the world has ever known. As a Delta Force commander, he led covert, high-risk operations across the globe, missions so secret they'd never see the light of day. His call sign was Phantom, a ghost who struck without warning, leaving no trace behind. His enemies never saw him coming, and those who did, well, they never stood a chance. Now, Wade is retired, living a peaceful life, far from the battlefield. But when the cartel sets its sights on his land, that quiet life is about to end. And the cartel? They're about to learn the hard way. Never, ever underestimate an old soldier. The cartel doesn't waste any time. They begin moving in, slowly but surely, purchasing land all across Ironwood Valley. At first glance, it seems like just another business transaction. But the truth is far darker. These aren't ordinary buyers. They're using fake identities, shell companies, and shady tactics to push the local ranchers out. The land they're scooping up is prime real estate for what they really want: drug routes, distribution networks, and safe havens for their illicit activities. The valley, once a peaceful community of farmers and ranchers, is now a target. And when the cartel sets its sights on Wade Thorne's farm, they think it's going to be just another easy deal. They've dealt with plenty of pushback from stubborn ranchers before, but none like Wade. They're sure this quiet, aging farmer won't put up much of a fight. After all, what does he have to protect? What they don't realize is that Wade is anything but ordinary. His trained eyes are always alert, always watching. When he notices fresh tire tracks in the mud, he's immediately suspicious. These aren't the usual marks from a local tractor or truck. These are deep, heavy tracks left by unfamiliar vehicles. Wade's mind starts racing, running through every possibility. This isn't just some random occurrence. No, the cartel is moving in, and they're targeting his land next. With decades of military training under his belt, Wade knows exactly what this means. His tactical instincts kick in, and every corner of his property, every tree line, every vantage point is analyzed. This isn't just a land grab, it's the beginning of a war. But Wade isn't some naive farmer. He's seen real combat, and he's prepared to fight for what's his. The cartel has no idea that their next move is going to lead them straight into a deadly trap. As the weight of the situation settles in, Wade knows he can't face the cartel alone. This isn't just some random group of criminals. It's a well-funded, ruthless cartel determined to take over the valley. But Wade has something they don't expect. A team of seasoned veterans, each one a specialist in their own right. This is no ordinary call to action. This is a reunion of warriors who've been through hell and back. Wade picks up the phone, his voice steady but filled with purpose. He calls in the men who once answered to him under the most dangerous circumstances, the men who once stood by his side in the most chaotic, high-stakes missions. It's been years since they've been together, but the bond forged in the fires of battle never fades. Knox, the sniper, the man who could take out a target from a mile away without making a sound. Raven, the demolition expert, who could turn any obstacle into a pile of rubble with precision. Zane, the communications specialist, able to intercept any frequency, any channel, and turn it into an advantage. And Nash, the medic, who could patch up a bullet wound with the same calm focus that saved lives in the middle of a battlefield. Together, these men had fought wars that no one ever knew about, carried out covert operations that would never be recognized. Now, they were reassembling for one final mission: to protect Wade's farm and the valley from an enemy that thought they were just dealing with an old man. As the team begins to arrive, there's a sense of familiarity in the air, like stepping back into a well-oiled machine. There's no need for speeches, no need for grand gestures. Just a nod, a handshake, and they're ready. Their mission is clear. The cartel is coming, and it's up to them to stop it before it's too late. Each member of the team takes their position, setting up the perimeter, analyzing the terrain, and making sure every angle is covered. Wade moves through the farm, his mind working like it always has, mapping out the defense. With military precision. He's no longer just a farmer. He's a commander again, leading the most skilled team of Special Forces veterans on a mission that could change the course of this battle. With their training, their experience, and their skills, Wade's team is ready to take on the cartel and protect the land that means so much to them. It's not just about defending a farm anymore. It's about standing up to the cartel's power and stopping it dead in its tracks. The first Real test comes quickly. Wade's suspicions are confirmed when a group of cartel scouts rolls into Ironwood Valley, disguised as innocent real estate investors. On the surface, they seem harmless enough, dressed in crisp suits, carrying portfolios, and offering polite smiles. But Wade knows better. He can see through the facade. These aren't just investors. They're sent by the cartel to size up the land, looking for weaknesses, trying to figure out how they'll seize control of the valley. Wade, however, doesn't let his guard down. He plays the role of a simple farmer with ease, offering them a warm greeting and giving them the tour they expect. But behind his calm demeanor, his mind is already working. He knows this game well, he's been playing it for decades. Every word he speaks, every move he makes is calculated, subtly guiding them away from their target without ever making a direct threat. He lets them think they've got the upper hand, lets them underestimate him. After all, what's a small-time farmer going to do against an organized cartel? As the scouts inspect the land, Wade gives them just enough information to keep them intrigued, but not enough to give away anything of value. A few casual words here, a little planted doubt there about the soil quality, and the scouts begin to falter. They realize that Ironwood Valley may not be the easy win they anticipated. Maybe it's not worth the trouble after all. With no sign of the big payout they were expecting, the scouts decide to leave, not knowing they've just stepped into a larger trap than they could ever imagine. But they've set something in motion. As they drive off, they unknowingly trigger the advanced, community-wide warning system Wade and his team have meticulously set up. Every movement, every turn they make is tracked. The locals, led by Sarah, Wade's trusted neighbor, remain vigilant. They're not soldiers, they're everyday people, just farmers, ranchers, and town folk, all keeping their eyes open. No one is doing anything out of the ordinary, yet everything is being watched. Sarah, her truck parked casually near the road, snaps a few photos. A few others go about their business, seemingly unaware of the threat just passing by, while in reality, they're tracking every vehicle, counting every person, and collecting every detail. No one makes it too obvious, and that's the brilliance of it all. Wade's community isn't just standing by. They're quietly gathering intelligence and creating a powerful, subtle network that the cartel will never see coming. As the scouts drive off, unaware that they've been marked, Wade watches from a distance, proud of the way his community is responding. It's the first taste of what's to come. The valley may seem quiet, even idyllic, but beneath the surface, it's anything but. The cartel doesn't take failure lightly. Word spreads fast, and soon enough, they realize that Wade and his land aren't going down without a fight. Their first attempt was a mere probe, a test of the waters. Now, they're back with a vengeance. This time, they're not coming in small numbers. No, this time they bring a full-on assault force, heavily armed, confident, and ready to overwhelm what they still think is just a few old farmers protecting their land. They've learned a few lessons from their first encounter. They're expecting a military-grade response. They're thinking Wade's team is just a handful of retired soldiers trying to make a stand. So they come prepared for a battle, rolling into Ironwood Valley with trucks, armored vehicles, and enough firepower to take down a small army. They believe this is the moment they wipe out any resistance and claim the valley for themselves. But they couldn't be more wrong. As the cartel advances, Wade's team is already one step ahead. The ground shakes as vehicles approach, but what the cartel doesn't know is that they're walking right into a meticulously laid trap. Wade's knowledge of the land, his team's decades of combat experience, and their ability to think several moves ahead are about to turn the tables. From their hidden positions in the hills and the trees, Wade's team begins to strike. Snipers take out key figures, disrupting their coordination. The cartel forces, thinking they're facing a traditional battlefield, suddenly find themselves disoriented, isolated, and scrambling. Wade's team moves like ghosts, appearing from behind rocks and trees, firing from concealed positions, then vanishing before the cartel can even react. But this isn't just about military tactics. No, Wade's team is smart enough to know that they don't need to fight with sheer force. This is where the genius of the community's defense network comes into play. As the cartel pushes forward, the locals, ordinary farmers, ranchers, and townsfolk spring into action. What seems like an everyday activity is suddenly an obstacle for the cartel. A tractor begins moving in front of the cartel's path, forcing them to slow down. A herd of cows is set loose, causing chaos in their ranks. A group of farmers quietly shifts their position, blocking roads and forcing the cartel to divert. And all the while, no one is firing a shot. No one is even raising their voices. The beauty of it all? The cartel has no idea what's happening. They're not fighting an army. They're not facing military precision. They're fighting a community that has come together, using the land they know better than anyone else to turn every routine task into a tactical obstacle. Every move the cartel makes is countered by someone they never saw coming. The cartel forces, confused and off balance, try to regain control, but it's too late. They're not just facing Wade and his elite team. They're up against an entire community that has been trained to defend itself, using methods they could never anticipate. It's a battle unlike any the cartel has fought before, and they're realizing too late that they've underestimated the power of unity and preparation. Ironwood Valley, once a place under the thumb of fear and corruption, is beginning to turn the tide. The community that was once powerless in the face of cartel intimidation is now transforming into a well-oiled defense machine. Farmers, ranchers, shopkeepers, ordinary men and women who have lived their lives in peace, are now standing together, united by one purpose: to protect their land. And the most remarkable part? They're doing it without firing a single shot. Wade's team, with their tactical genius, has done more than just prepare for an armed confrontation. They've given the community the tools to defend itself in a way that doesn't even look like a fight. Using every resource available, they've turned ordinary actions into extraordinary defenses. Farmers aren't just planting crops. They're strategically placing barriers and setting up obstacles that slow down the cartel's advance. Townspeople aren't just going about their day. They're part of a silent network, keeping watch, gathering intelligence, and quietly reporting every suspicious move. But the most brilliant weapon in their arsenal? The law. Wade and his team are masters of asymmetric warfare, and they've taught the community to use bureaucracy as a weapon. Instead of responding to the cartel with guns, they fight them with paperwork. Environmental hazard stories, historical preservation laws, zoning restrictions, everything the cartel needs to move forward is blocked by these invisible walls. When the cartel tries to push forward, to bribe local officials, or to buy up land with promises of millions, they hit a wall of legal paperwork that stalls every attempt. The valley becomes a bureaucratic nightmare that no criminal organization can navigate. Even when the cartel sends spies or infiltrates local businesses, they meet resistance at every turn. The moment the cartel tries to bribe a local, that person is already under the watchful eye of a community that knows the value of their land and the price of losing it. And when the cartel tries to infiltrate local law enforcement, the valley is ready. Every lawman, every civilian, every local shopkeeper has a role to play, and they are all part of a larger web that the cartel simply can't untangle. Every legal threat the cartel makes, every attempt to buy land, every move they make is met with perfect, calculated responses. When they send in agents to spy, to get inside information. They are tracked and watched at every corner, their every move logged by the vigilant eyes of a community that no longer fears them. The cartel tries to break through, using every dirty trick in the book, but it's like trying to punch through a brick wall with your bare hands. Wade's team has set up a system so tight, so perfect, that every move the cartel makes is countered before they even realize they've been caught. What started as a simple farmer standing up to a cartel has now become a coordinated defense operation. A community, united and stronger than ever, ready to face anything the cartel throws at them. The valley has transformed from a place of fear into a place of resilience. And for the cartel, that means one thing: the valley is no longer worth the trouble. The cartel, now believing they've finally cracked the code to Ironwood Valley, is about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. After months of probing, testing, and countless failed attempts to infiltrate, they think they've figured it all out. They've got their eyes set on an all-out assault, armed to the teeth, thinking they'll wipe out what's left of any resistance. But what they don't know is that they're walking into the final phase of a trap so expertly laid, they won't know what hit them until it's too late. Wade and his team, masters of war and deception, have prepared for this moment, the moment when the cartel thinks they can overtake the valley. But this isn't just about military tactics. No, this time, it's the community that will deliver the final blow. As the cartel begins to move in, they are met with an unexpected sight. The valley is quiet, almost eerily so. The roads look peaceful, the farmers are tending to their fields, the usual sounds of daily life echoing in the air. But behind every fence, every corner, behind every house, hidden from their sight, are the eyes of the community. The farmers aren't just growing crops, they're also keeping watch. The ranchers aren't just tending to livestock, they're executing tactical maneuvers. Wade's team, now synchronized like never before, is using every tactic they know. The land is a maze of surveillance systems and hidden traps, all built into the fabric of the daily routines. Motion sensors hidden in the trees, cameras set up in plain sight that the cartel can't even spot. And the civilian patrols? Disguised as nothing more than casual errands. Filling gas, walking dogs, checking the irrigation systems, but every movement, every step, is part of a larger plan to ensure the cartel never steps out of line. As the cartel advances, they move like professionals, using all the tactics they know, but they can't break free from the web Wade and the valley have woven. Every turn, every decision they make, has already been anticipated. The cartel thinks they're in control, but they're playing into a game they'll never win. They can't retreat, they're being watched. They can't advance, they've been outmaneuvered. Every road they take, every decision they make, leads them deeper into the trap. And just when they think they have the upper hand, just when they think they've surrounded the valley and are about to crush what's left of resistance, they realize too late they've been outplayed. They've walked straight into the kill zone that Wade and his team have prepared, and there's no way out. The final phase isn't about brute force. It's about strategy, about precision, and about the overwhelming strength of a community united in its defense. The cartel's assault is stopped in its tracks. Not by an army, not by guns, but by the sheer will of the people. The farmers, the ranchers, the shopkeepers, all working together, moving as one, protecting their homes and their families with everything they have. The cartel tried to take the valley, tried to expose its weaknesses, but they never understood its true strength. Because the true strength of Ironwood Valley is not in its military defenses, not in the weapons or the tactics. The true strength is in the people, ordinary men and women, who've become something extraordinary when they stand together. The cartel's assault on Ironwood Valley has crumbled, as the forces that came to conquer are now trapped within the very land they sought to control. Their plans, their arrogance, their firepower, all of it rendered useless as they realize, far too late, that they've stepped into a trap set by a community unlike any other. State police arrive, but by the time they do, the cartel is already neutralized. No shots fired, no blood spilled. The valley's defenses were never about force. They were about something more powerful. Unity, intelligence. A community that has learned, through sweat and sacrifice, how to defend itself without ever needing to raise a weapon. As the dust settles, Wade Thorne stands tall, looking out over the land he fought so fiercely to protect. He smiles, but it's not just a smile of victory, it's a smile of pride, of knowing that this wasn't just about saving his farm. It was about saving something far greater, the valley. The people he fought beside, ordinary men and women, have proven themselves capable of extraordinary things. And together, they've turned Ironwood Valley into a place that no cartel, no force, no enemy can ever hope to take. Wade knows the real victory here wasn't won by brute strength. It wasn't about the guns, the tactics, or even the technology. It was about the bonds that tie this community together. About the people who stand, side by side, ready to defend their home, their land, their way of life. The power of a united community, that's what defeated the cartel. And now, that strength is woven into every fiber of this valley. The battle is over, but the future of Ironwood Valley has just begun. A future where the people are more than just survivors, they are guardians, watching over each other, ready to face any threat that comes their way. And as Wade watches the sun set over the valley, he knows one thing for certain. This place, this community, will never be vulnerable again. If you enjoyed this heartfelt story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing tales. Your support keeps us going.